Okay, everybody's coming in. So welcome everybody to that 401k virtual bunch. Ari Rosenbaum here with Larry Davis, who, for those who don't know, one of my favorite movies is The Shawshank Redemption. And there's a character that Morgan Freeman plays that's red, and he's the guy who can get things done. And Larry effectively is my red. So,
What about Wolfie from Pulp Fiction?
Mr. Wolf, I mean, listen, I didn't shoot
Bobby
somebody's
Keitel.
brains out that I need to clean up my car. I really don't know. So anyway, before we get to Larry, the next bunch that we're going to do in 2 weeks is with Dan Harding from Wealth Prime. He's got this great software that is going to blow everybody's mind in terms of selling retirement plans. And we also have that 401k virtual conference number 9 on December 18th. And then that big virtual conference in January that Larry helped me book, Walt Frazier and Dwight Gooden. And that's on January 20th and 21st and 22nd, 2021. Sign up. Greg asked which jersey I'm wearing today. I got my Kawhi Leonard Clippers jersey for the year. So I'm wearing.
Why? Greg's asking you why. Why are you wearing the Kawhi Leonard, by the way?
Everybody knows I'm a big Clippers fan.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard's awesome, man. One of my favorite players in the league. Amazing. Great defender.
How do you get a swetshirt like that? You know, I have
you root for a
that
West Coast
retire
team
Hall.
that you got to stay up till 2 a.m. to watch.
You want to trade? Or you
I
want
do.
to trade? You want to trade for the Kawhi jersey?
No, because I just ordered the City jersey today. No, I do have the NBA ticket, whatever, the NBA
League pass.
Yeah, the league pass. That's it. So anyway, Larry, let's get to your career. Everybody knows you spent about how many weeks at Brooklyn College? About 6 weeks.
2. I ran 2 weeks at Brooklyn College. Pretty much, I only went there because my sister and brother went there. And I really was not college material, I thought, and went there for 2 weeks. And then I studied for one test. I got like a 9 out of 10. And then when I went in the next day, somebody raised their hand and said to the teacher, "What's passing?" And I actually studied. And the teacher goes, "This was a pass-fail test." I raised my hand and I go, "Wait a second. For the first time in my life I studied, I didn't cheat from anybody. And I got a 9 out of 10 and you're telling me that I failed?" He goes, "Yeah, that was it. Chucked the books out the window and I quit. I was done." That was my career.
Yeah, I tell you, I went to high school across the street at Midwood High School, and I the first college I got accepted to was Stony Brook, and I said, "Let me go to Stony Brook because I don't want to go to Brooklyn College. I don't want to spend another 4 years at the Junction." And
Yeah, but Brooklyn was a good school, I guess.
No, it was, but I just didn't want to spend another 4 years over there.
Yeah,
4 years was enough. So after that, didn't you go into the pizzeria business?
right. And I was in the pizza business in Florida. Had a place in Miami Beach. Did great. We were the only place around, and at that time they were bringing in all the people from England. Freddie Laker brought all these people in, and the Miami Beach.
Freddie Laker on his he was one of the first with the airline business, the discount.
Right.
Yeah.
Laker Airways, and he made a deal with the Miami Beach people because all they were there were just, as they say in Jewish, all the aldakakas, and the hotels were pretty much empty. And they brought the English people in and loaded up the hotels. And one of the hotels, I was on Versailles Hotel on 31st and Collins, and this guy said he wanted pizza in there. And I was 18. I left Brooklyn College after my 2 weeks and went down to Florida, opened up a pizzeria in there. Paid the guy $1,000 a month. He had tables, chairs, and an oven, and I was killing it, man. I was killing it. And then they tried to triple my rent, and it was fucked up. I wasn't happy about that. I had a big fight with the owner of the hotel, and then I bought a place in Hollywood, Florida, and ended up I got held at gunpoint, and unfortunately came back to New York with my tail between my legs. And my mother gave me the rap, "I told you so." She said all Jews go to college. That was her rap. So, but I didn't go back.
And then you got involved with a buddy of yours from camp.
Yeah. So I had gone to most people think all Jews have money. I was one of the few who don't growing up. I grew up in Queens. A buddy of mine who I met at this camp called Camp Sussex in Sussex, New Jersey, which was all for underprivileged kids. from Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan kind of thing. A lot of minorities, mostly. And we was there. He was a gentleman named Brandon Steiner. I met him there. He's older than me, 5-6 years older than me, but his brother and I were friends, and he was friends with my brother. We went to camp for years, and then he started a company called Steiner Sports and kept asking me to come and be with him. Took him a couple of years. When I went to work with him, I think he was doing maybe in the early 90s, maybe 2 million a year. And then him and I had a 15-year run where we averaged probably about 20 million a year every year. And we had about 125 employees.
Yeah, they were one of the first ones to kind of, I want to say the word, clean up the memorabilia business.
I
Because
wouldn't say that. I think that we made it kosher, not in cleaning it up, just making it that you knew if we did appearances and signings, you knew it was real. So we really took it and made it a business. It was really just out there like the Wild Wild West. So you didn't really know what you were getting.
It used to be as a kid, there'd be like shows at I remember I was a kid in high school, there was a show at some catering hall on Ocean Parkway by Avenue J, and I think Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. were there. And, they'd have shows, I think, in Lefferts over there near the Raceway by Aqueduct. And it was just.
Yeah, Greg, Sussex. I saw that. Yeah, Greg, Camp Sussex, Sussex, New Jersey. When I went to the camp, Greg, 10 minutes away was the Great Gorge Playboy Club.
Oh, so that was near Action Park.
That's awesome.
And Greg, you want to hear something cool? In those days, like I saw it on Entourage because I was too young. The older guys threw me in the trunk, just like in that show Entourage when they
Great show.
To one of those parties. They took them into one of the parties. The older guys at the camp threw me in the trunk and drove me into the Playboy Club. It was great. I was like, forget it.
That was
Action Park. By the way, quick plug. Sorry to interrupt, but quick plug. Highly recommend the Action Park documentary on Netflix. Oh, that's all.
I didn't even know there was one.
HBO Max.
Yeah, sorry, Ari. Yes, correct. But I can't recommend it enough.
My wife watched it and I watched it. I watched it and then showed it to my wife on HBO Max, and it was just hilarious because you go there and you realize, I was 11, I was 12. They took me, Manhattan Beach Jewish Center Day Camp took me on a day trip to Action Park, and you're like, what kind of parents would let anybody go to? And her parents took her to Action Park.
I've done appearances there. I know some of the marketing people there, and we brought themes there. In an Action Park, you think it's more New York, New Jersey, but there's a big Philadelphia following. So, I would get Philadelphia athletes there as well as New York athletes. So I've done a few things with them. And unfortunately, like all of us through this whole pandemic, we've all lost business, or mostly everyone. I lost a big amount of this business. A lot of stuff I do with Ari and other people. And I would probably tell you guys, because we're all in the financial world as well, probably lost about $100,000 in business between the last appearance I did with Ari, which was in Orlando in March, up until now. I mean, I had a good amount of stuff. It's a lot of money. But it's part of life, as we all know, and we all got to figure it out. And life is really a battle every day anyhow. So that's what we're all doing, right?
Yeah, you will. Of course, Steiner had that store at Roosevelt Field Mall.
Right. So then, Brandon,
my mind when it opened.
Yeah, that store was really, in that mall, was more of, like clothing and jackets. And we talked the guy into selling some memorabilia, some baseballs and stuff. And then Brandon and I just bought the store from the guy. So we paid $300,000 for the store to the guy. And we changed it to a memorabilia store, and that store, over the 15 years we owned it, I averaged probably about $2 million a year from $300,000. We did $2 million a year out of there, 900 square feet. Roosevelt Field Mall is one of the top malls in the country, if not the. Paid $125 a square foot. Everybody kept saying I should take the store next to me, and was like, no, got to keep the cost down. I was able to do appearances in that store. Imagine 900 square feet, get them in and out, 500 people, 600 people, certain appearances. The biggest appearances I ever had there was Strawberry after his cancer. Hulk Hogan, I'm telling you this, I had 1,000 people. Again, of course, not in the store. They'd line up across the hall at 1,000 people because I was such a fan-friendly guy during the days when there weren't really cell phones. It was really more you're using your
Yep.
phone. And I would let you, even if you only bought one autograph, I'd let you bring 2, 3, 4 people. And the really messed up thing about it was, you know, people, you want to get the stuff done. You want everyone happy. And if your eyes were closed, can I get the 2 kids in there? And I want a photo with the 1 kid. I only want me solo. I mean, people took advantage, but you always had to be nice. You always had to be happy, even though in your head, you're like, are you kidding me? But could never say that. So the beauty of that is I meet so many people along the way who always say the same thing, how nice I was and how it changed their life. I mean, you know, meeting these celebrities, as we all know, that's to some people it's a life changer or a life discussion changer because everyone wants to talk about it.
The biggest signing I ever was there was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he was running late. And I think I was online for like 3 hours. I mean,
Yeah.
you went wrapped around, you were outside the mall, and you know,
Stone Cold Steve Austin. I remember we had that chick, if she is a chick, China. We had Triple H. Of course, I had Hulk Hogan. Yeah, I mean, what the thought process was to bring a celebrity in there, say once a month. So that way people would come to the mall and say, hey, I got to go see if there's a celebrity at that store and that get them in the store and hopefully do business.
no, it's you always remember that stuff. I always tell you my first time I ever met an athlete was I was 7 years old. They opened up the Burger King by my house. I lived behind the Burger King, and Catfish Hunter was the first player.
Oh, was he? Mike, like what Brooklyn Dodgers did you meet? Michael, right? You're right. And you saw some Brooklyn Dodgers. Who'd you meet?
Mike, you've seen at all the events. Mike's been at,
Yeah, I know who Mike is, but I saw him right that he saw some Brooklyn
Oh,
Dodgers.
Billy Lowe's and Cal Abrams.
Oh, Billy Lowe's and Cal Abrams. All right. I don't know who Billy Lowe's is. Cal Abrams, I've heard. Billy Lowe's, I don't know.
Billy
I
Lowe's.
remember, Mike, we used to sell this piece at the store, Brooklyn Dodgers, with the photo of the stadium and a
Yep.
piece of the brick. People bought the shit out of that, man. I mean, that brick was like, I probably paid, say, $75, say $100. I was selling them for like $4.99, like $500. It was,
I
you made more money in the non-autograph stuff, talking from a business gross net, more profit on the non-autograph stuff, taking the same great photo and framing up nice, and then add the autograph just made it more money and not as much profit.
I bought a brick one time when I was at Meyer Swazi, and I tried to impress one of the partners. He was a Red Sox fan, and I had that account with Steiner. I got a brick from Fenway Park, and you know, I wish I could take that back, but you know.
The big Red Sox Yankee piece was the Curse of the Bambino piece.
Well, the funny thing, I met you through Rich. So Rich Larita, I worked with at Geller Group, and you used to ask Rich to help you with the signings because you know Rich was a friendly face, and then you know Rich would help me, you know, when I have tickets to see Reggie Jackson or Goose Gossage or Tino Martinez. You were always there, helpful, nice face, whatever.
Tino was here in New York yesterday, the day before.
Yeah, I'm still amazed that I paid more for a Tino Martinez autograph than a Reggie Jackson autograph. But you know, Tino,
that is
Tino's
crazy.
a lot more
I'll
pleasant.
tell you, you brought up Reggie. I'll tell you a quick Cecil Fielder, Reggie Jackson story. Cecil Field is when he was with the Yankees, he's hitting bombs in batting practice, and he notices Reggie's watching. So he's watching one day, then the next day he sees Reggie watching him hitting bombs, and Reggie comes over to him and says, "Hey, big fella, how you doing? Hey, Reggie, how you doing?" He goes, "Let me just tell you something." He goes, "The superstars like me," Reggie goes to him, "you know, hit a couple to left, a couple to center, and a couple to right, and then that's it." And he turns to Reggie, goes, "Reggie, you ever hit 15 a year?" Reggie walked away. He was pissed. He just walked away. He was not happy.
Reggie should have had 50 in 69, but he got hurt.
Yeah, that's right.
He had 30, he had to get 33 at the All-Star break,
That's right.
which before McGuire was the record.
Yeah,
But you're right, Larry. That's a good story. Cecil got him there.
Oh yeah, Cecil didn't give a shit. I mean, Cecil says whatever he wants. He don't care.
Yeah,
Does
but
not care.
it was funny because Reggie was one of the few unpleasant experiences I ever had meeting anybody. It was him and William Shatner, the two guys that come out to like whatever. So you're with
I got
Steiner.
a Reggie Jackson story for you that I remember reading in a magazine many years ago. You want to know why he's so screwed up? Reginald Martinez Jackson.
Oh
You
yeah.
know the story. White man's first name, Spanish man's second name, black man's third name.
In Pennsylvania, he grew up in Western Pennsylvania too. It's not like he grew up in New York or,
Yeah,
you
he was a
know,
Philly guy.
Northern Jersey.
I
I
forgot
didn't
it
know
was
that.
a player who actually said that. I don't know if it was. I don't think it was Mickey, but Mickey Rivers. But somebody had said that, and that's how it ended up in the magazine.
I
But yeah,
didn't know that.
Reggie wasn't nice, and I remember Rich telling me the story that you know, again, he was. If you asked Reggie for a picture, whatever, he was just very gruff. And I remember Rich Larita told me the story where there was a kid with a father taking a picture, and I think Reggie said, you know, your kid farted or something like, you know, something like. And Rich just like towards later said something bad about Reggie, whatever. But yeah, maybe next time I'll meet Reggie, he'll be a little bit nicer. I met
Reggie shakes your hand. He gives you the fish. You know what I mean by that?
no some you know, some
He
guy.
doesn't give you a real handshake. He
First
like,
time I met Parcells at Steiner, he wasn't nice. The second time I took him, Jason, to see him in Westchester, it was nicer. So who knows?
he's ornery.
Yeah.
Parcells is ornery.
So you left Steiner and you went out on your own, where you're dibbling and dabbling, and what, you know, how many different things that you, when you left Steiner, you were just dabbling, and explain that phase, which is the phase that you're still in. How would you
Well,
describe what you do? Because it's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that, and it's a whole lot of, you know, meeting people and.
So, you know, when I left there, we had a buyout. A company called Omnicom bought us out. And it's interesting how Omnicom buys people. I agree with what they do. You know, they come in and they give you a little bit of money. And then our deal, and what they do a lot with people, is the next 3 years, they give you double your profit, because they want to keep you on your game and they want to make money. You know, the thing they didn't know about me and Steiner was, you know, we brought our A game every day and went 100 miles an hour every day anyhow. So it didn't really matter. So I stayed on for a couple of years after that. And then we did the big Yankee deal. And then I retired from there. Another thing, I don't know if everyone knows, I didn't bring up, while I was there, I did all the TV for us. So I had a TV show on MSG Network for 2 years. It was called What's It Worth? That show was, it was called Bid New York. And you would bid on the merchandise that we had on the show, and then go online and bid on other stuff that we had. As a part of that show, part of the 12-minute segment. So it's 4 12-minute segments, and the rest, of course, is commercials. I would interview a player from one of our appearances in one of our stores or in our office, and then we try to sell his merchandise. So I pretty much interviewed everybody. And then we moved it, when we did the Yankee deal, we moved it to the Yes Network. When we did that groundbreaking, historic deal, we did a deal with the New York Yankees, and, you know, we were selling the bats, the balls, the jerseys, and all that stuff. And then when I retired from Steiner, really what happened was I had a conversation with my financial guy, and he turned around and said to me, "You'd be phenomenal in the financial business." I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "You're a people person." He said, "You know how I've been managing the money all these years? I manage it boring and conservative, and you're never going to blow anybody up, and you might think about that." And the last thing he said to me under his breath was, "You got to take a test." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "You're going to have to take the test." So shockingly and surprisingly, and of course I had to stop smoking weed because I needed every brain cell I can have. Mike likes that. I stopped and studied and shockingly passed that Series 7. I mean, I still today can't fucking believe I passed that thing. Right, exactly. Thank you. I mean, what an animal that is.
You passed it. That's all that matters, Larry.
Right. You're absolutely right. And then while I was doing it, they said, you know, you should take the insurance test, because we did a lot of estate plans. So I took the insurance test. And along the way, I think you find a niche or whatever you do. And you know, people kept planting the seed in my head about the pension world, and nobody gives a shit about it. Nobody cares. They have employees. They don't know the fees. They have no idea. So it ends up, not knowing that that's really Ari's expertise. I had no idea what the kind of attorney he was. I just knew him as Ari. And then I hooked up with a girl named Dawn, who's excellent in my opinion. She's an actuary. She is a TPA, and then she did become licensed. And fortunately, I do a lot of business. As a matter of fact, as of today, it's not signed, so it's all bullshit until the client's signed, but they're pretty much signing it today. We're taking over a plan that has 270 employees. So, you know, to me, that's the gold. If somebody turned around and said to me, listen, I know you want it all, but you can't. You can have my personal money or my company's pension. I'm taking the company's pension all day long. The other stuff I do is what Ari's talking about. Just because of my, what I've done, and listen, I can get to any celebrity. People find me. I don't really promote it. I don't advertise it. But last year alone, I think I did 47 to 48 appearances all over the country. People find me. Whether it's to come to your house to watch the game. I brought Doc Gooden the other night to have dinner with 15 people. Whether it's the stuff I do with Ari, whether it's a speaking engagement. Using Doc Gooden as an example, I got Doc Gooden now is representing a mortgage company. So any of all that stuff I can do. And then I invest in talent. I don't invest in the business. So if I believe somebody eats, drinks, and shits a business and I respect them, I don't care what business they're in, I will go into business with them. I mean, it's not that simple, but so, with me, I'm involved in a couple of pizzerias in Manhattan, which are only takeout and delivery. And then also a bar restaurant in Roslyn out here in New York, because Roslyn Social. So that's really what I do. I get involved in those things where I'm just here to help you. I do not have to be there every day.
Yeah, like Red from Shawshank Redemption.
I get back to red, except I'm not in jail.
So
I'll tell you, here's a trivia question for you guys. Any Yankee fans?
No.
Okay, whatever. In 2000, Subway Series, Mariano with Subway Series, and the whole year, Mariano Rivera got every save for the Yankees except 5. Who got all 5 of those other saves?
Jeff Nelson.
How many different guys?
I guess Jeff Nelson too right away.
Yeah, that would be my. And the other one was Stanton. Was the other reliever?
Everybody says that.
Was it
Ramiro Mendoza? What? Was it Ramiro Mendoza?
All great guesses, but no.
Did they
And
put in
the
El
guy
Duque?
who told me it, what?
Was El Duque put in? Because they used to mess with him in the rotation. They use him as a reliever then?
Again, not a bad guess. And the guy who told me it is the guy who did it. Doc Gooden told me he's the one. He got 4 or 5
5 saves.
Yeah. And I said, Doc, because really the question to me, I said to Doc the other night, I said, Doc, you could have been a closer, right?
Yeah.
And first he goes, no. I go, what do you mean, no? I mean, what's the difference when you get the outs? And then he said, then he asked me that question. And I was like, I did the same as you guys, Jeff Nelson, Mike Stanton. I didn't say El Duque. That's a good one. And then he said, no, me. It's a good one.
Hey, Larry.
That's because he was getting bombed in the rotation, and they put him.
Exactly.
Because by 2000, he was pretty much done.
Right. You're right.
Don't forget Doc's relief appearance in '88 against the Dodgers and Mike Scioscia. I'm a Met fan. I can't get rid of that. I'm sorry. You brought up Doc in relief appearances.
Game 7, he should have pitched. They might have won. He should have started instead of Darling. But that's Davey.
Hurting me is my old Met fan roots who go way back with the Mets to like '69. But all I know, they 11 of 12 from the Dodgers.
88 is the worst.
Couldn't beat him.
I will forgive Beltran and all that stuff and World Series, but the 88 NLCS is still the one that I cannot stomach.
Same thing with me, Ari. Same thing with me.
There's only one good thing about that, and I'll tell you an interesting story. Not that interesting for anyone else. Night of Game 7, I had an early date with a young lady who's been my wife for 30 years now. Didn't know that at the time, though. I think it was the first date, and the only time we could work it out was like 5 o'clock on Game 7. It's like, this Game 7. Do I want to meet her, not meet her? A friend set it up, and I'm like, I'll go. And I missed like the first couple innings. I think I got home. It was 6-0. It was before cell phones.
Yeah, so
I got home. It's like 6-0 Dodgers in the third inning. I said, what the hell is this? What have I done?
That's the opposite of Goodwill Hunting, where the guy misses Game 6 of the '75 World Series to go meet a girl.
Right, that is the opposite. You're right.
Larry, we met up when I was at Meyer Swazi, so you could probably vouch for all the times that I tried to network with people and how one of my favorite stories with Larry was I wanted Larry to be introduced to all these lawyers because, it's all about relationships, and Larry's the perfect guy to, build relationships and all that. And I remember you gave me a bunch of like Dwight Gooden autographs, as is before I ever met Dwight, who I now see more than I see most of my family. And I would give them out to attorneys. And my favorite story with you is we go to see one attorney and, we give her the gift, whatever, and you leave. And later I get a phone call to come down to talk to her. And she tells me later, I was busy. Why did you bring him over? And I said to her, you could have just told me that you were busy and I would have gone. But she wasn't busy enough to make me come, call my name out, bring me down, and whatever. But that's that. So you're a little bit this and a little bit of that. So, and of course, you've been to most of the conferences. The only ones that you weren't at, Chicago, Warren was there. Denver, Warren was there.
Yes.
And Tampa Bay, because Ron Sellers had something with,
Right. In Chicago, you had the Hawk, Andre Dawson.
Yeah, but out of all the cities, what are some of the memories? First of all, you helped LA happen because, again, Dodger Stadium, remember? Dodger Stadium at Life, he also negotiated the rentals, which was
right. Now, listen, that's business. We all could do the stuff like that. It is what it is. You know what I mean? We're all involved in business, and you're right. It is relationships, and hopefully people like you and you're fair, and you do deals that everybody makes money. It goes back to Scarface when you had Mr. Lopez in the Mercedes dealership, right? And he's telling, he's telling Scarface, he's telling Pacino, he goes, don't be a chaza, right? Everybody's got to eat. You be a chaza, you're going to lose. And that's what happened. I believe, you want to be fair to people and, make deals and hope everyone's happy. Isn't that what it's all about? I think.
I think so too. But out of all the events, what are the ones that stand out?
We've had some of them we had fun before the events. But I did think Steve Garvey was very, very good. Steve is great anyhow as a speaker. And with all those great Dodger teams, and there's so many people that pass through that Dodger organization that he's with, that the story, he could still be talking with such great stories that he has. So I think that's a great thing. That was one of the better ones. I thought that another one, we did at Giant Stadium, Sean Landetta. I thought Sean was great too, because Sean played 24 years in the NFL. Okay. 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 So we had that with Sean, because I think people, you look at him, he's quote unquote just a punter. But guy got 24 years in the NFL, and he played for every coach. You don't realize that every coach in the NFL he's touched. Everybody.
He played for the USFL too.
And he played USFL. So people don't realize he wins 2 Super Bowls with the Giants and 2 Super Bowls in the USFL. All the guy knows is how to win. So he plays for Parcells. He plays for Belichick. He played for, yesterday, if you watched the game, Harbaugh. He played for Harbaugh. He played for Andy Reid. He played for McCormick. I mean, it's ridiculous what he had. So he was good. Who else was like? Everson Walls. Let me tell you, that Dallas one was great.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun. As a matter of fact, Everson Walls, I didn't even tell you this, Ari, got in touch with me, and his story is so great, I believe I'm working on a documentary for him.
Well, he was an undrafted free agent, which is
that's what it's called, by the way, undrafted. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what was great about
Everson was not drafted?
No, he was a free agent.
I mean, that guy I'm talking pre-Giants, on the Cowboys, all pro. Like there's like Lester Hayes, Mark Haynes, and Everson Walls were probably the 3 best cornerbacks in the early 80s. And to think that guy, because everybody in the Cowboys, like the Randy Whites of the world, these guys were all like first round, top flight draft picks. That's surprising.
Now he was a free.
I'll give you some information, doing some homework on him, Greg. First thing is, he's top 3 in NFL history in interceptions.
Right.
He led the nation at Grambling his senior year in interceptions. Okay, he had like 11, and he's not drafted. Think about it. He has 11 interceptions. I don't think
when it was like 12 rounds.
Right.
And they only played like 10 games back then.
Right.
And I don't care.
And Greg, I don't care if he had 11 interceptions in Pee Wee. He had 11 interceptions. So he doesn't get drafted. Gil Brandt brings him in. He doesn't play the first 2 games of a 14-game season, not a 16. And he had 9 interceptions, led the league. And his rookie year, his rookie year was the catch of Dwight Clark and Joe Montana.
But you remember, there was a
on
guy
the cover of Sports Illustrated with that.
He's a cover of Sports Illustrated. He's in the photo of the Dwight Clark.
Doesn't he write lucky catch on it when he has
right? He writes the catch. I'll tell you another thing, and I've never heard this from a player. He told me that after the catch and he scored, first thing he said, they changed the play at the line of scrimmage. And the reason why he was there was because he saw the ball going there, and he's a ball hawk. When he went in the locker room, he said the other players were mad at him, thinking that he blew the coverage. Then, I don't know if you guys remember this, he gave a kidney to Springs, to Ron Springs.
Right.
How about that?
Yep.
Then he goes to the Giants and wins a Super Bowl. And one of the things, Sean Landetta told me this story. On the opening drive in the Super Bowl, if you remember, the Bills had the run and gun. You couldn't stop them, and they won the AFC Championship. I think they won 52-0. On the opening drive in the Super Bowl, here come the Bills, bang, bang, bang. One of the plays was on the sidelines to James Lofton. Perry Williams of the Yankees, of the Giants, knocks it in the air, falls down. Lofton catches it, and he's streaking down the sidelines. Who do you think out of nowhere from the opposite side of the field come and tackles James Lofton?
Everson Walls.
Right. Everson Walls on the 7-yard line. They do not score a touchdown. They held him to a field goal, and wide right is the game. Yep.
Now he was great because he's the only guy that we brought on the tour.
Right. And he came on the tour with us. And
I
he's
thought was
great.
hilarious.
Yep. And you know his life now, married to the same woman, lives in the same house for 35 years in Dallas. But you know, he's got one daughter, one son. As if you guys were there, he speaks articulately. He's very smart. And also in the documentary, I'm going to play the whole Black Lives Matter thing as well. Because if you look at it, black man went to a black school, doesn't get drafted. Is it because he's black? I don't know. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. Doesn't get drafted. He's not in the Hall of Fame.
He's not in the Ring of Honor.
Right. He's not in the Ring of Honor. And you know, one of the questions I'm going to ask in the documentary.
What?
He's in neither Dallas nor New York.
Neither.
He was a great Giant, but he was a better Cowboy.
I don't know if he was a great Giant. He won, but
he got a ring. I mean, he was those teams. Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, he's not an LT kind of guy, but he should be in the Cowboys one at least.
Yeah, that's
on the cover. SI, right? Imagine if all the Giants, he's the one on the cover if they win the Super Bowl.
No, but it was funny because you know, his picture is up. So we do the tour, and then they have this thing in the Cowboys locker room. If you were a All-Pro for a couple of seasons, your picture's up there. So his picture's above, you know, in like one of the corners. And the funniest part was all these people who were not part of our tour, part of another tour, come in and don't recognize him.
That's right. Yep, that's right. Yeah, that is funny. So I think he was great. He told us a lot of stuff, and he doesn't hold anything back. You know, answer every question. He told you, me and Jerry don't get along. He's not a Jerry Jones fan. So yeah,
because he's a Landry holdover. He's
right. So and Matt, look who he played for. Played for Landry. He played for Parcells. He played for Belichick.
Yeah, I think he might have played for Jimmy Johnson for a year, and then he was toast.
I think you're right. Yep.
His nickname Toast, or was that somebody else?
Right.
Somebody's nickname was Toast.
He
was a good cornerback.
Elvis
Patterson.
Yeah,
okay, he was pretty good, but
yeah, not everybody's Everson Walls.
Okay.
So for me, Everson was a great guest, but some of my favorite events were I think Kansas City was is a event. You know, we had Danny Jackson, and that was kind of fun to be in the middle. You know, Kansas City to me is, I hate to say it, felt like it was in the middle of nowhere.
It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Danny was interesting. He was more interesting than we thought. Yeah.
And, you know, you got to take a regional jet, and it isn't exactly Las Vegas, which we would have been in. You reminded me there tomorrow.
We would have been in Vegas. All I know, guys, we've been in Vegas right now. How great would that have been? Come on, in Vegas. Oh.
Yeah, well, back in March, I thought, you know, it'd be over by now. We would have had an event in Vegas, but we'll do that next year.
That's a different discussion. In March, we were all talking, it'll be over by May. It'll be over by early June. Right. Nobody imagined this.
Nobody.
Put it this way. I'll tell you something else. I sit on my synagogue's board, and we did obviously high holiday services, you know, virtual Zoom, you know, all that kind of stuff. We jokingly say we may do it next year also that way.
Yeah, I was a vice president of a synagogue, and Larry, you spoke at the synagogue. I invited you to speak over there.
Right, I remember that. Yep. And after that, they closed.
No, unfortunately, they're still around. I'm not there anymore, but
right, you left.
Well, yeah, but it was funny because I ran events over there, and then that because of running the events. When I left, I did this 401k conference. That's how it all kind of started. So
Yep.
if I'm still at the synagogue, we don't have this discussion probably.
Probably right. Yeah.
And of course we had the event in Orlando when the world was coming to an end, where it felt like it was.
I think if I remember, we were the only, or maybe one or other one was doing an event. That was it, right? The hotel was done.
There were people there.
Is that okay? Okay.
You have to order food.
What is up, man? So give me
They don't sell Cuomo chips over there.
I like the potato skins, but just with the cheese.
Is Larry in an autonomous zone?
No, that's Staten Island only.
I know, I'm kidding. My dad lives in Suffolk. Yeah.
Yeah, Staten
What?
Island. That's its own little world. I went to my wife dragged me to the Staten Island Mall a couple weeks ago to go to some store that she loves over there. And I'm like, it's like Staten Island. It's its own, it's like, it's
I remember
nothing
I
like
did
New York.
I shot a movie there at the Staten Island Yankee Stadium. That place is a dump. I mean, how do the Yankees have their logo on that stadium? The place.
Well, not anymore.
Right, not anymore. But I couldn't believe that they had their logo on there. Terrible place for a ball club. But everyone went through there. Plenty of players were there. You look on the walls, everybody played there.
I'm surprised that they haven't announced that they're going to move to Atlantic League or something, because it's surprising.
Not yet, but I saw the Trenton team is going into that new league, the Wooden Bat League with Major League Baseball.
Yeah, it's
Any
like
of that.
the high draft picks is supposed to play there. Like,
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah.
Yep.
The better players, yeah.
No, it's terrible what's going on over there with a lot of cities are losing their minor league teams.
And that's all they got. That's all they had to make money.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
funny
look-
because now they turned in some of the independent teams. I think St. Paul is now going to be the AAA team for Minnesota.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, which again, one of those events that we were supposed to have. We were supposed to be in Houston. We were going to have J.R. Richard.
Yep,
St. Louis, we never got to a discussion.
correct. But there were
Minneapolis.
plenty of choices in St. Louis. Would have been great.
Yeah, we'll still do it eventually.
Yeah, we'll do it next year. Yep, absolutely. The
Yeah.
tour will continue. The first one we ever did was Doc Gooden at Citi Field.
And that's why we're bringing them back for the virtual event.
Yeah.
I think, I always go for New York guys, but I'm from New York. So when Walt Frazier was available, I'm like, I got to go with
Well,
Walt.
Clyde's a whole nother level. I mean, he's, as he says in every interview, automatically, hey, I'm Clyde Frazier, greatest Nick ever. He says it automatically.
He's also the best guy. He's like a better person than all of us. He really is a genuinely good dude who happens to be a freaking legend in New York sports,
So you
I'm
basically
so
saying,
excited. I
Greg,
met him and I'm excited to meet him again. Nice
Yeah,
work, Larry.
he's a great guy. He's a great guy.
No,
And
my
he
favorite,
works, it's pretty cool.
my favorite thing with Walt is the first time I met him, I was at a Billy Joel concert. So I bought tickets in the Madison Club because when I was there for a Nick Clipper game, they had like a Madison Club. You got food, you got drinks, whatever. And so I thought they'd have the same spread for the Billy Joel concert. And I went with Susan and I went with Dougie Z, and a friend of Susan's, and there's no food. And I'm like, oh, I buy these tickets. It's behind the stage. I think there's gonna be food, and I decide to walk on this. It's a suite level, and so all of a sudden I see there's this Lexus event, and there's Walt and there's Earl the Pearl, and of course since it was MSG, I had my Bernard King jersey wearing, and that's how I first met Walt.
He brings up Bernard King. I did Bernard King's book. So the book that's out there, Game Face, came out probably about 2 years ago. I set Bernard up with the agent, the writer, and the whole marketing. Well, the whole marketing thing, Bernard took it over, but that's why the book went nowhere. But
It's still a good book.
I set up the whole book. So I don't know if you guys have read it or seen it. It's called
I have.
Face. I'm in Game Time and it was a work in progress with him. It wasn't easy, but Bernard is on a level of himself, a scoring machine, pretty much unstoppable.
I
player.
remember Bernard King when he was with the Nets. I think it was probably in the ABA days, maybe.
Now NBA, he had a drinking problem.
Didn't he drop, I think with the
He had a
Nets, he
drug
dropped
problem
like-
or drinking problem,
Drinking.
one of those.
Drinking.
he had some problems and he didn't want to put it in the book, but he had no choice.
He did.
But didn't he drop like 50 or 60 on Christmas Day?
Yes.
Yes.
He had 60 on Christmas Day. That's right.
Back-to-back 50-point games.
That's
The guy
right.
could light it up.
Right. Unstoppable player. Unstoppable on the offensive end of the nothing. People told me, other players told me once he got ahead of steam, Just get out of the way. There's no reason to get in his way. No
And he
reason.
blew out his knee in a time when blowing out your knee was the end of it.
And that's a
He
phenomenal
came back
story.
from that.
Yes, he did 2 years later, but
And became
by
an
then the Knicks moved on. They decided to get Sidney Green and
Right.
let Bernard King go to the
Went to,
Bullets.
I don't care what you call me. Went to the Bullets. They'll always be the Bullets. Ain't the Wizards. Baltimore Bullets.
Washington Bullets.
Sorry. Who just made the big trade. They got rid of John Wall.
Yeah, which I think is actually good for them.
I
Yeah,
like
what do
it.
you guys think of that trade?
I like John Wall and a number 1 pick. I thought that Houston did good.
I
I
think
like the Houston. Westbrook.
I like Washington's side of it. I don't like John Wall. John Wall gets injured. And we'll see what happens.
But we will.
So yeah,
Will the Nets win the championship?
no.
Oh.
No.
No.
They're not
Kyrie
even-
will get hurt somewhere in there.
No problem.
I don't give you any problem. It's just
Got to do what we got to do, man. I'm cool.
walk in,
That's cool. No problem, buddy. Not a problem.
actually asked to see people's receipts, do they order food? It's crazy.
It's all good. Listen, we got to do what we got to do.
I appreciate you being cooperative.
As I should be. Not a problem.
Some guys are like, I'm not ordering food. I'm like, listen,
Yeah,
Then throw them out. Yeah.
yeah. You got the Cuomo rules. You gotta buy
I happen
food.
to be, guys, just know I'm in Southampton right now. I'm at an art event a couple of doors down. Not that I'm an art guy, but I'm with this company. It's a concierge service, but I forgot that I told Ari I'm doing this. So, I told him I got to come do it. And I went a couple of doors down to this restaurant because the other place was too loud.
Okay, so that's about it. That about
Any
wraps it up.
questions? Anybody got any questions or we good?
I think we're good.
Larry, quick question. One, super excited to meet Doc, by the way, because the greatest, probably the best sports moment of my life, definitely baseball game, was driving up from Philly during my senior week with some friends to go to a random Yankee game, and it turned out to be Doc Gooden's no-hitter. And I'm not a Yankee fan. I'm a Met fan. Growing up, he's my guy, my all-time favorite athlete. So being there in that moment, dude, it was. I can't overstate how it's still. I'll go to my grave. That's probably the best sports moment of my life. And he was my guy growing up as a Met fan.
I gotta send you, send me your cell phone, your text me, and I know your cell number.
Yeah, you got it.
I'm working on a bobblehead for him, but not because my buddy one doesn't have the license to put the Mets and the Marks, the Yankees and stuff, doesn't have that MLB license, but also something different where Doc, I never saw it before, and I asked Doc, and he said he hasn't either, where we're doing it in a doctor's coat with a stethoscope around his neck, something different, than the usual Doc Gooden in a uniform. So I'll send it to you guys. See if you like it. Thank you very much. See if you guys like
Thanks,
it.
Larry.
All right, guys.
Okay. Thank you,
Thanks.
Larry, and we'll talk soon because I still got to pay you for the rest of the for January.
Not supposed to talk about business on here. Now I'm going to eat my potato skins because I have to eat something while I'm here.
There are worse things in life. Too bad they don't have the Cuomo chips for $1, like some of the other bars are doing at the beginning.
All right, guys.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. My
Take care.
pleasure.
Bye bye.